Evening, everybody, and welcome to Elevation. Great to be back here with you guys. Absolutely great show lined up for you tonight. And Gavin, how is it going? Good to be back here with you again.
Hey, John. Yeah, everything is going great. Happy to be back on episode number 14 tonight. Always a good time when we're here at Elevation, but things have been running crazy here at WDWA. Uh, Action's still high. We're going into the end of the year with our last two shows of the year. Looking forward to it, man. How's everything been with you over at Wrestle Talk Podcast and everything? Everything going well?
Hey, everything's going good at Wrestle Talk, and just been having a blast, having some great guests and everything. And good show last time, even though we didn't have a guest, but, we got to talk a lot of wrestling. Actually, we did have a guest, I guess, in a way, but, got to talk a lot of wrestling and just had a good time with it. So
Nice. Speaking of guests, John, tonight, the first two-time guest that we've had on Elevation in the last 14 episodes, we're bringing back JTR, man. What do you think about him coming on tonight?
man, JTR, you bring him on, he is always stirring the pot and just really gets things going, I tell you. So people really tune in to see what JTR's got to say, though. A lot of people say they don't like him. They think he's got a big mouth, but they tune into him. They want to see what he's got to say. So,
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with him, man. He is a guy with a big mouth. He always has a lot to say. But the one thing about him is he's always got a game plan. He keeps things interesting, and he's got some explaining to do when he comes on tonight about what's the future of Money and Power. How are we at the stage we're at now? We haven't seen him since Berkeley Mania. Where has he been? Just looking forward to getting some answers answered, as well as seeing like what's going forward with himself and Money and Power. So I don't want to give too much away until later in the show, but also another thing tonight, guys, at the end of the show, we're going to be doing our fans weigh in. So stay around for that. Looking forward to that. But John, Vendetta, man, what did you think?
oh, Vendetta, it was an awesome show as usual, and plenty of surprises. I mean, who would have thought, everything that went on? And we'll get into a lot of those surprises as we go, but definitely want to get into those results from Vendetta and everything. Great show. As always, we started off with Daniel Alexander Dabrowski versus Drew Blackwood, you know, and they put on a good match, and Dad came out with the victory on that one. I thought that was a pretty good match. What did you think there?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was great. Dad won the match, but Drew Blackwood definitely won the war. I mean, when it was all said and done between Drew and Tyler, and they definitely took liberties and Dad getting the win there. But it was good to see both competitors since Berkeley Mania return to WDWA. I think Drew as well as Tyler, are very talented guys. I think they have a bright future here at WDWA. We all know that Daniel Alexander Dabrowski has had such a great run here in WDWA, multiple tag team champion. He's been able to do a lot. But to have him back and just running wild, man, like it, he going into 2026, I think Dad's in a good place. But as for the match, I thought the match was great. Both guys brought it. But if you want to look at the record books, another win for Dad against Money and Power.
Yeah, and like I say, it was a good match. And then, we turned up the heat from there with that tornado tag match. Oh my gosh, Ivan Ali and Axel Crow tagging against the Legion with Dexter Alexander, and there has been so much turmoil between these two teams, and especially between Axel and Legion, um, there's so much leading up to this. And, then they ended up handcuffing Axel Crow to the ring, to the ropes, and you know, then they came out. Legion came out with the win after that, and I kept hearing a lot of fans, you got to do something, and screaming, "Come on, this isn't right!" But there were no rules. It was tornado tag match, so it was completely legal. And of course, after everything was said and done, who emerges with the key but Joe Lance? you know, so I don't know if he had the key the whole time or not, but
Yeah,
people weren't happy that he came out afterwards with the key.
yeah. From what I hear, he found the key in the back and was able to bring it out. But to sum up this match, man, kudos to Dex for doing his due diligence about checking out his opponents and coming up with a game plan to do what you need to do to win a match like this tornado tag match especially against two guys like Axel and Ali. I mean, the looking at the marquee, you would think that Axel and Ali, this was a shoe-in, but Dex is smart. Whatever he's put together a great team, and whatever he's doing right now, they're definitely running wild. They have a great combination. They work well together. Seems like whatever is going on in their mind, I have no clue, but it definitely seems like Wraith and Phoenix are just on the right page. So, hats off to Dex just for being able to take control of that team and try to lead them down the path to success. I mean, it's very unfortunate for Axel Crow to get handcuffed early on in the match, wasn't able to pull his weight, which I completely get. But not to take anything from the big man, Ivan Ali, but, it's hard to work a handicap match when it's 1-on-2 and then you add Dex involved, man. So I'm not taking anything from Ali, but I'm sure this is far from over.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, I even made the remark on commentary when the match started that it was almost like a handicap match then, just because Ivan Ali he can manhandle those two guys by himself, and he was doing a heck of a job doing that. But then we saw the Dex get involved a little bit, and it was just too much for Ivan to overcome.
Yeah, it'd
And
be too much for anybody to overcome. I mean, that's Dex is a smart man. Yeah.
so, and of course, then we went into some light heavyweight action there with Chulo Montana versus Ace Christian. But just prior to this match, we saw Austin come out and, basically say that Supremacy needed to take a step back and get behind him. And we saw some friction between him and Y Keys, and Chulo was kind of in the middle. I mean, he was trying to keep Y Keys back, but he didn't seem to be phased much by Austin either. But then right after that, we went straight into this match with Chulo and Ace. And so, we saw that Ace apparently injured his knee and was unable to finish the match. So the ref had to stop the match on that one. So, unfortunately, that was kind of a no contest at the end. Hopefully Ace is getting better, as Donnie pointed out, get well soon, Ace.
Yeah, I mean, it was very unfortunate. I was looking for a banger of a light heavyweight championship match, which I'm sure if we would have went straight to the bell, we definitely would have had it, because both participants are phenomenal in the ring. To start off, with Chulo coming down and getting between Austin and Y Keys. I mean, you could tell how focused Chulo was for this match. I mean, he came down, yeah, he got between the two, but it was all business. He didn't pull away, he didn't get loud and obnoxious like he always does. Nothing. Like, he was straight to the point. He was all business. He just wanted it to calm down, let the guys go their separate ways so he can get along with his match. Yeah, but it's very unfortunate. Ace Christian suffered an injury to his left leg. In the back, he seeked medical attention. He was able to hop a little bit on it by the end of the night, but from what I from what I gather, is the next day he went and saw medical attention, and he's got some issues with his left leg that I don't know if they're permanent or semi-permanent, but I know he's dealing with some issues. I'm hoping to get a better follow-up here soon, before we see Ace Christian again. But, got to be fair, wearing the hat of the promoter, I'm always trying to give people what they want, but at the same time, Chulo deserved that match. And despite what happened, Chulo's going to get his rematch eventually, just in due time. So.
Yeah. And, from there we went into a tag title match, where we saw Thunder Road versus our tag champions, Clay Jacob and Zakar Shaw. Now, everybody expected this to be just an absolute, that Zakar and Clay would have this in the bag, But I think Thunder Road kind of surprised people a little bit. I think they were a little more competitive than what people thought they would be. But of course, in the end, you had outside interference that took Clay and Zakar, that it took their attention away, and they ended up chasing other people out of the arena and ended up getting counted out. So, Thunder Road came out with the victory on that. Like you say, according to the record books, Thunder Road came out with the victory, but of course, it was by count out, and therefore Clay and Zakar are still our champions. But Thunder Road with the victory, and I don't think anybody saw that coming.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, a win's a win is a win. I mean, like in the record books, it's going to show that Thunder Road is 1-0 against Clay and Zakar. I mean, and that means something. I'm hoping that those guys get to come back, and be able to check it out for another chance to be tag team champions. I mean, they definitely deserve that. First I want to mention, this match was sponsored by the Henson family, who graciously sponsored this match and got with WDWA to do that. Like what a great family, great fans here at WDWA. So I'm happy they give all that support and love to us. So thank you, a big thank you to the Hensons. Yeah, man. When it comes to Zakar and Clay, like there's not much that I can say more about how good they are in the ring or what they bring to the table or what we think of them as champions. I mean, but it's hard to focus when you have guys like the Uncrowned Kings, Jay and Snook, blindsiding you from behind. I mean, you just don't have enough eyes on your head to focus. So, I guess in a nutshell, man, in the ring, great competitive match. Thunder Road held their own against, two of the top guys. But, I think that if we wouldn't have the Uncrowned Kings come out of nowhere and attack Clay, like, I don't think that the record books would say what they're saying at this moment, John.
Yeah, definitely, and it was something, to see the way that, the Uncrowned Kings could just take the attention of Clay and Zakar the way that they did. So, we'll see, because I'm sure that story is far from over. But then, of course, I don't have the graphic for it, but we went into a match that wasn't even scheduled for the night. That's why we don't have the graphic for it, which was Austin Kingsley versus Y Keys. And as I say, this match came from Austin Kingsley earlier in the night coming out and talking about them. Supremacy needing to take a step back. They need to be behind him. It's his time to shine. And, Y Keys kind of took exception to that. And, he came out and he let Austin know, look, I don't stand behind anybody, and so it resulted in the two of them facing off for Austin's cup. And, Austin obviously came out victorious on that one, but, it was still a good matchup. It was absolutely mind blowing to see how the fans were behind Waikis in this match. After seeing them booing Waikis so much throughout the years, the way they were just able to get behind Waikis was, like I say, just mind blowing. I couldn't believe it. What were your thoughts on the fans getting behind Waikis on that?
Like it's obviously something that I didn't think I was going to see, at least not anytime soon. I mean, given the history with Supremacy and Sexy and Blessed, I mean, I would have never bet on it, you know. But what can I say? I mean, I've said it before. Everybody that's come out of Supremacy, all of them super talented. I think that uh, for some reason, Austin just struck a chord with Waikis, and Waikis feels like he's that damn good, which I think he's that good in the ring, and I think the more he comes out and the more we see more of Waikis, I'm hoping that the competitiveness continues to come out more as opposed to all the cockiness, and if that's what the fans like to see, to cheer him on, or if that's what he needs to be successful here in WDWA is to get that energy behind the fans. I mean, go for it, Waikis. Definitely take on it. But I really, I would have never thought that we would have ever seen this match between these guys. These guys have been on the same page since day one. These guys have trained together. We've had them on Elevation together. They've, been around each other, involved in each other's matches, have been a part of Supremacy, have had so much success here in WDWA as well as the wrestling world on the East Coast. But I'm with Waikis, man. You can only take but so much to where you got to come out and make a statement. I mean, I don't think any participant, or I'm sorry, competitor in this business should ever take a backseat to nobody. I mean, this isn't, it's a very competitive sport, and everybody is fighting for one spot. I mean, nobody is owed anything. Nobody gets like a cheat pass or nothing. So you always got to be on your game. You always got to bring it. We'll talk a little bit later about how this match ended, but yeah, man, as for watching these two guys in the ring, I don't see this being far from over as well.
Yeah, I don't either. And like you say, we will talk about the ending a little bit more later, because what took place in this match is kind of what spearheaded this interview tonight and bringing JTR back. So, we ended the night with a lot more questions than answers, as we always seem to do at WDWA.
Yeah.
And so then after that, we ended up going into another tag team match to where we saw the Sigma males versus This Is War. Absolutely great match. This Is War. That's the first time we have seen them together. I mean, we've seen them both in action in WDWA and in singles action, but we have never seen them as a tag team before. So to actually see those two tagging together, they were an awesome tag team. They seem to really be on the same page. And, I hope to see a lot more out of them. Of course, the Sigma males, they have been an awesome force since coming to WDWA, since the two of them got back together, that is. Luke has been an awesome force since he came. And just an absolute great match. And, the Sigma males got back on the winning side of things, in the end of this one. So,
yeah, this was definitely match of the night. I don't even hesitate to say that. From the first bell to the last bell, nonstop action. You didn't know who was going to win. Things were going back and forth. One of my favorite matches in history, is won PWI's greatest match of the year, was when Sting and Lex Luger went against the Steiner brothers. This match, this is from Super Brawl. Like, this match as a kid, when I was a kid, was like, man, something that you never would see, is four babyface guys, top of the game, top of the card, just giving it their all, just to see who is the best of the best. And this is exactly how I felt when these four competitors got in the ring to get together. I mean, it was four guys, two teams. Fans didn't know which way to go, and I could not tell you from throughout the entire match who was more over at that moment, because it was literally back to back to back to back to back, and these guys work well together. The collaboration and tag teams were just phenomenal. My hat's off to both teams and everything they brought to the table. Definitely spoke high volumes when it comes to the tag team division here in WDWA. Definitely represented the company. Nothing but praise for everybody in this match. But, I definitely want everybody to know, match of the night, you guys, all four of you guys killed it, but Sigma Males did come out on top. They continue to raise the bar here in WDWA. So looking forward to the future of both teams. But right now, Sigma Males, step ahead of This Is War. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. And like I say, I'm sure we haven't seen the last of This Is War, and definitely look forward to seeing more out of them. The fans were cheering back and forth throughout the whole thing. I don't think the fans even knew who they wanted to pull for. So
yeah,
it definitely was something. And of course, we went from that match into another match where we had TJ Price, who was representing RVA, which is the group that Ace runs, versus Jamie Hall. Ace sent TJ Price up here to go against Jamie Hall and, show Jamie what these young guys are made of and what he's teaching people and everything. And, Jamie Hall, though, he came out with the victory and, he locked that Cobra clutch in, that's the thing with that Cobra clutch. He doesn't really have to do a lot. That move is just so devastating on its own. And so he locked that in and took the victory. And he was bound and determined he was going to send a message to Ace. He did not want to let that go. And it was a heck of a beating for TJ Price in that match.
Yeah, man. It's always great to get everybody out of the Richmond, Virginia Wrestling Academy. Ace Montana runs that academy down in the Richmond area. A quick plug for that wrestling school. If anybody's in the area, reach out to Ace Montana and, the Richmond, Virginia Wrestling Academy. You definitely get your money's worth down there. But yeah, man, TJ Price handpicked by Ace Montana to come up and, show Jamie Hall a little bit about what the Richmond, Virginia Wrestling Academy represents. I'm not going to take anything away from, TJ Price. He seems like a good kid. Seems like, he's got a bright future ahead of him. He is talented. But it's one of those things, man. It's just not a good time to get into the ring with a guy whose experience is like Jamie Hall. Donnie Diablo just mentioned, the Tombstone Pile Driver. Jamie Hall, spiked this guy's head through the mat. Like, it wouldn't have mattered. TJ could have given Jamie everything he had, but at this point in his career, everything he has is not good enough to be in a ring with a ring general, just like hollow Jamie Hall. It's going to take a guy with the experience like Ace, who's been around for a long time, to be able to come out and stand toe to toe with Jamie Hall. I don't see anybody that is not experienced that without a good head on your shoulders and a good resume, just being able to come close to beating Jamie Hall. To me, he's an architect in there. He's the professor. Like he's taking people to school. I'm looking forward to seeing somebody bring a fight to Jamie Hall, because right now, so far, nobody has. Not to take nothing away from TJ, he just wasn't ready for this.
Yeah, definitely. And then we went into our main event for the night, where we saw the heavyweight championship on the line with our champion, the Kingpin, DeMarcus Kane, versus Tyler Root. And, I think DeMarcus just about, you were talking about how Hall drove Price through the ring. I think DeMarcus Kane was trying to slam Tyler Root through the ring, and so DeMarcus came out with the victory on that, obviously retaining that heavyweight championship. So, one heck of a night. And, so we want to get your thoughts on that heavyweight championship match.
First of all, like I said earlier at the beginning of the show, Drew Blackwood, Tyler Root, I think have a great future. I think both those guys are very talented. But just like we mentioned with TJP or TJ Price and Jamie Hall, I just think Tyler Root was outmatched here. I think that JTR and Tyler Root and the rest of Money and Power had a game plan going in this. They wanted to get the jump start on the Kingpin, attacking him with a chair, beating him before the ring, the bell starts. But even all that, man, like, if they haven't found out yet that the Kingpin is bulletproof, they need to get back to the drawing board. JTR and the rest of Money and Power, they've been trying to outsmart DeMarcus now for about a year, and he's just always one up on them. Even trying to take liberties before a match, he still came out on top. He's still WDWA's heavyweight champion. It's unfortunate that Tyler Root, he did suffer a concussion. He's going to be out for a little bit of time. Unfortunately, that's the nature of our business. But, you start poking the bear too much, the bear is going to poke back. And DeMarcus Kane, he just unleashed the beast and, definitely put Tyler Root, in his place that night. So hats off to DeMarcus Kane. Looking forward to seeing, his continued reign here as the heavyweight champion.
Yeah, definitely. So, and of course, with the end of the night, we saw Austin come out, and I think Austin was kind of trying to deliver a message to DeMarcus, just remind him he's still got that trophy and he's biding his time. So, definitely going to be interesting to see when he decides to cash that cup in. And just, a great night all the way around. And of course, if you missed anything, if you couldn't make it, because it was an early start time, but you had a great crowd even for the early start time.
Yep.
But if you were unable to make it, if you missed it for whatever reason, or, even if you got up and went to the concession stand or got up and went to the bathroom and happened to just miss something that really happened really big, you can get caught up for sure. And you get caught up on Frontline every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Juan does an absolute awesome job with Frontline. So let's go ahead and check out a little bit from Frontline.
Can't hear you, John.
Oh, okay. But yeah, definitely, Wild Patriot 22 on YouTube. Juan does an awesome job with that. He seems to catch stuff that even we don't see happen sometimes. We're out front and something happens in the back, and somehow he seems to catch it. I don't know how he does that, but he is just great at catching all that action and putting everything together for you. So definitely check out Wild Patriot 22 on YouTube and check out Frontline. So absolute great production.
Yep, definitely give us a like, give us a share, give us a follow. Like you said, Juan does a great job for us over there. I'm proud of everything he does, and thankful for all the hard work. Just like Matt Pinkston said in the chat, Juan is the man. So, thanks, Juan. We love you, buddy, here at WDWA. John, tell us, man, what do you got going on over at Wrestle Talk Podcast?
Wrestle Talk, we just keep trying to turn up the heat there. We've got some great guests. You see Wrestle Talk every other Tuesday night, on Facebook, YouTube, we're in multiple places. And, so check us out. Next week it'll be myself and Gabriel Arsene. We will be at the helm of things, and I don't think we have actually confirmed our guest yet, so I don't want to announce it and have it fall through. But as always, we try to get some of the absolute best guests around. So let's check out a little something.
Great stuff over there, Wrestle Talk Podcast. Hoss, man, happy to always see you guys are up and running a while. You guys have put on a great show. Definitely brought on a bunch of great guests, man. I'm happy to be a part of it, man. Thank you guys for collaborating with WDWA. And yeah, man, just lucky to be able to showcase what you guys do over here at Elevation, man. So it's great things, man. Good, great job.
So thank you. We appreciate it. Over 500 episodes, and we look to go for a lot more. But if you go back and look in those 500 episodes, I believe it was episode 501, because it was right after 500. You'll see an episode with our guest tonight on Wrestle Talk Podcast. So I know he's sitting in the back waiting, and he's got his Avion water and his green M&M. So
you have episode 501, episode 1 of Elevation, episode 14 of Elevation, involved in multiple matches at Berkeley Mania, involved in the main event from the Holy Grail, former manager of the heavyweight champion of WDWA, man, accolade after accolade for this oncoming guest. And we know the fans love to hate him, so I guess he's one of the fan favorites. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the manager of Money and Power, Mr. JTR.
Gavin, I'd like to tell you that was a great introduction.
Yeah, you like
that?
But
it was subpar. You could have been much better. You're
right.
trying, but you got to try a little harder to get on my level.
Gotcha. I could have knocked off some of those, accolades. So I
Look,
get it.
you're always trying to bury me. You're always trying to put me down. So it wouldn't be anything different than any other day, WDWA.
Well, that being said, we're happy to have you here as a repeated guest on episode 14.
First two-timer.
The first two-timer. But we're happy that you took the time out of your busy day to join us here. We have a lot of questions the fans have been wanting to know a little bit about some of the things that happened the last show and some of the things going forward here at WDWA. But before we get started, John, do you have anything for JTR off the bat here?
Well, right off the bat, I think one of the big things that a lot of fans want to know is, were you able to get all the splinters out of your butt after Berkeley Mania?
I heard that. I heard a lot of people want to know that.
Listen, I'm not going to answer stupid questions like that tonight. So the next time you ask that, I'm telling you right now, flipping the laptop down, and that's it. It's over. We're not going to go through this stupidity tonight. As a matter of fact, you know what? Maybe I'll flip this around. Maybe I'll do it Roddy Piper style. And when you think that you got all the answers, maybe I'll change the questions and start asking the questions. Maybe that's what we should do if you're going to keep asking stupid questions like that, Hoss.
It was already brought up in the comments tonight about that happening. So, we just had to ask.
Yeah, so, but, speaking of kendo stick sodomy and things like that. So, Berkeley Mania, let's take a rewind button on that. Berkeley Mania, you guys, Money and Power, we're in a 4-on-4 match, and you guys did not come out victorious. Then your heavyweight champion at the time, AK Bane, was in the main event of Berkeley Mania, and you guys continued to not come out victorious. How do you feel about all that? How did your game plan not work? Why didn't it work? How do you feel? What are your thoughts looking back on Berkeley Mania?
My thoughts. Well, we'll start with the first match, the 4-on-4 elimination match. Gavin, not only it really wasn't even 4-on-4. It was like 6-on-4.
What?
Unk was there unannounced. I had no idea he was going to be there. How do you make a plan for someone you don't even know is going to be in the freaking building? Right? And then that little brat outside the ring, I knew she was going to be there. And you always got to watch your back with her because she's sneaky. She's sneaky. Hey, absolutely. That freaking brat. Don't even get me started. But nonetheless, here's what I want to say. It took 4 men at one time to pin me. Go back and watch it. It took all 4 of them together to beat me. If I had any of those guys one-on-one, it would have been over, Gavin. It would have been over. That's just the point. The point is that they are so weak and pathetic. Every single one of them. They had to gang up all 4 at one time to pin me.
Well, that's how it goes, man. In an elimination match,
that's how it goes.
They were able to pin all of your partners, and it just happened for you to be left all alone. I mean, what does that say about the team that you put together, not being able to hold their own against the other 4?
What that says is the team that you put together, it cheated and put 4 men in the ring at one time. I've never seen 4 individuals pin 1 man. I was an official myself, and that's against the rules. That match should be stricken from the history books and thrown out for good. It shouldn't even be in the history books, as far as I'm concerned, because there were so many rule violations in that match. I could list them all, but I'm telling you right now, your battery on your phones, they'd all be dead. You wouldn't even be able to listen to all of them.
Well, you guys definitely have your chance for a rebuttal this upcoming weekend. We'll get into that in a second.
That's right.
Yeah. About Berkeley Mania, let's talk about that heavyweight championship match. Looking back on that, I mean, things obviously didn't go your way again. We talked about it earlier. You've had plenty of game plans that just have not been able to keep DeMarcus down. He seems like he has an answer to everything you guys throw at him, and you guys definitely did not walk away with the heavyweight championship.
You know what, Gavin? You might be right. You might be right. This guy, I'm telling you right now, I've asked for it over and over again. I believe, that night at Berkeley Mania, this man turned into some freaking superhuman. I'm asking, and I've asked for so long. I wanted him tested that night. Everyone refused. He had to be on some kind of performance enhancer. The entire crowd was saying it.
He's not on any of that. We test on a regular.
I'm telling you, there's no way any single man can have that much strength and come back from everything that was thrown at him. I'm telling you. Is he the freaking Incredible Hulk? I mean,
he's the kingpin. He is the WDWA Heavyweight Championship. And it takes somebody like that can take hit after hit after hit after hit and come out on top. I mean, that's what a champion's made out of, and that's that's the reason why DeMarcus Kane is our heavyweight champion and AK is not.
The reason that DeMarcus Kane is the champion, Gavin, is because that's your freaking guy. That's who you want to be champion. So you stack the deck constantly against me, constantly, and put all these roadblocks in front of me. I mean, you knew he was coming that night. You knew that he was in the mask, behind the mask. You knew he was doing it the whole time. I know you did. I daggone know you did, and you know it too. And it was just some ploy in your game plan against me.
I had a hinkling, I could see it, but it was kind of comical. John, what did you think? Watching
real freaking
JTR and the rest of Money and Power freak out and be scared over the purge.
Yeah, I tell you what, Gavin, why don't you stand on your beautiful boat one night, getting ready to go out for a nice, relaxing ride, and have some freaking maniac pop up behind you. I mean, the guy, I don't know how he did it, how he got in, but I'm telling you, I had to sell 3 houses, Gavin, 3 houses this summer just because of that freaking idiot, just to feel safe. I wasn't safe anywhere.
That's good, man. I talked about earlier, you start poking the bear, he'll poke back. And, I think you and the rest of Money and Powers, you got what you asked for. I mean, you guys put DeMarcus through hell last year, and then and what happened is hell came straight for you, and you guys couldn't handle it. So, be careful what you wish for. John, what do you think, man? What did you think about, all the purge stuff and DeMarcus King getting into the JTRs and Money and Powers head?
Like you say, I had an inkling who could be behind that mask, but nobody could have known for sure who was behind it. I mean, you yourself, JTR, you were in the back before the hand. You never saw DeMarcus in the back. So how could anybody else know that was DeMarcus when we never even saw him there? He just popped up,
Okay. Yeah, he just popped up. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll believe that. Okay.
Well, he did just pop up in your house and pop up on your boat. You didn't invite him to come and see
that
him.
That freaking idiot next to you over there, he probably gave him a ride over there. He probably dropped him off every time. His co-conspirator there. Here's a fact. I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there. I had a long few months to think about it. Gavin just can't. He understands that I am a winner and that my team, they're all the absolute best athletes and top in their divisions in WDWA. But for some reason, this guy just can't stand to see me succeed. And that's all I've done all my life is succeed. So it's inevitable, Gavin. I'm going to succeed sooner or later. You can only put so many roadblocks in front of me. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So I don't know what your next little plan is, but it's not going to work.
It's funny that you say that because, I have literally booked every single Money and Power member into heavyweight championship matches against the previous champion, Jordan Evans, Now we have DeMarcus Kane. It's not my fault that your team keeps losing every time they get an opportunity. So it's not about getting their chances. It's not about me holding you back, because the platform to succeed has always been there. It's just the one key factor in all of it is you. Maybe the guys would just be better if you weren't around.
Oh, okay.
So I get it.
Okay.
Because you're right, man. I'm putting over your team. I'm putting over how good they are in the ring, how smart they are, how they're the future of this company, the helm, future of the tag team division. Great competitors. But what's holding them back, man, is maybe it's you. Maybe you're the anchor on the team. Maybe you're holding them back from success, because right now the only person that you're trying to look after to benefit is what's best for you, and it's not best. It's not what's best for them. Being a great leader is, leading by example. And right now you're just trying to get your boys to follow. And, ever since then, you guys haven't had much success. So you can point fingers at me and management all you want, but in the end, you need to be accountable for the things that you do. And unfortunately, whatever game plan you guys got going on, or that you guys had going on leading to Berkeley Mania, just didn't work. So, I'm okay if you want to continue to poke fingers, but at least be accountable for you dropping the ball.
Let me tell you something, Gavin. My team is 100% behind me. You know why? Because they follow behind me because I pay them what they want to do what I want. Okay? They're paid very well. So what's good for me is good for them. Trust me. I am taking them to the top. I just have a few roadblocks. One of them I'm looking at right here that always seems to get in my way. But hey, that's fine.
John,
that's fine. Because listen, it didn't work. Maybe my plan didn't work at Berkeley Mania. But let me tell you one thing about war, my friend. In war, sometimes you have to retreat. Okay? Sometimes you have to retreat. It doesn't mean you've lost the battle. It just means you regroup, get a better plan, attack, and win the war, Gavin.
Yeah, it's it's funny you say that. We talked about Berkeley Mania. We talked about how things didn't work out in your favor. You took some time off here at WDWA. We saw the return of JTR this weekend and the recollaboration of Money and Power. I'm going to show a quick video to the fans if they weren't there to see it, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on why this happened and the outcome, and what do we have here in store for going forward. So let's check this out.
Wait, somebody just came out of the curtains.
Who is that?
I don't know. I can't see. His face is covered. They got the Gorell Trophy, though. I think I might have an idea who that is. He's giving the Gorell Trophy to Keys and saying, hey, use this.
I don't need this. I don't need it.
Keys is saying that he don't need it. What did he just slip Kingsley? Brass knucks. Brass knucks.
Oh!
The power of the punch.
1, 2, 3.
With the assist from whoever this is and some brass knucks.
Still, the Holy Grail tournament.
Kingsley just robbed Keys.
Austin Kingsley the Fifth.
Looks like
looks like he doesn't even know who this is.
we're about to find out.
JTR!
Joe doesn't like it. And we were talking about it. We haven't seen JTR since Berkeley Mania, really. And
JTR
now
extending a hand to Kingsley. Kingsley.
Wow.
Money and Power now?
leaves supremacy.
Look at it. Pick your jaw up off the ground. Pick it up.
Leaves supremacy in one night and joins Money and Power. And Money and Power Man, they've got an arsenal now. They just added Kingsley to it. They got Kingsley, the Helm, A.K. Bain, Jerry Jeremiah. Who's going to be able to stop JTR and Money and Power? And now they can cash that Grail trophy in for a championship.
You know,
Love it.
kudos to you. You know, you had your path, you know, as the heavyweight championship at the top of Money and Power. You lost it. You know, I think, you know, you regrouped, and now you're ace in the hole as the guy that holds the Holy Grail. I mean, you know, it's easy to see, you know, why you chose Austin, but, you know, you want to elaborate a little bit more on that?
So, Gavin, I know back maybe like last April, when I struck DeMarcus Kane in the back of the head with that belt buckle, I could see the future. Okay. I could see the future. I could see the opportunity. And I knew that this would all come full circle. You want me to tell you why? Because for 2 years, I watched Supremacy take a man that is Austin Kingsley the fifth, and I watched them keep him at the bottom when he should have been up here at the top. And I knew sooner or later he would get tired of it. So not only was I protecting that grail to make sure it went in the right hands, I was doing a favor, and I was paying it forward, because down the road, I knew there would be an opportunity. As a businessman like myself, you see things like this. You see opportunities in the future, and you have to set things up, and that way you scratch someone's back and do a favor over here, and they're going to do one for you in the future. And that's exactly what that was, Gavin. That was Austin coming to the winning side, because he, just like myself, comes from a very prominent, very successful family. Okay? We didn't get that way because we were idiots. He seen Supremacy was dying. It was dead. And when I came out, he had no idea. But as soon as I pulled that off and he looked across the ring and I stuck my hand out, he knew where to put his hand. Because he knew if we joined forces together, the sky is the limit, baby. The sky is the limit, especially with that Holy Grail he's got.
You know, John, let me ask you, you know, the last time that, and this is just, you know, my opinion, you know, the last time that JTR made a business deal with another person who had money, like CEO, there was not enough room for both of their egos to work well together. You think that this collaboration with JTR and Austin is going to have the same negative effect and work against JTR, or do you think that these guys are going to be able to work on the same page, John? What do you think?
You know, honestly, I don't know if they're going to be on the same page or not, but I will agree with JTR on one thing. You know, Supremacy, when Austin was with Supremacy, he was on the bottom. I mean, you look at it. Sexy and Blessed, they held the tag team championships. And, I mean, you had the heavyweight champion was in Supremacy. And the whole time, what did Austin hold? Absolutely nothing. You know, so yeah, he was on the bottom of Supremacy. And then, you know, you look at it, and now former Supremacy is one half of the tag champs. So Supremacy had a lot of success other than Austin. So I do have to agree with him on that Austin was on the bottom of Supremacy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, to back that up a little bit, there was nobody in Supremacy there to help Austin at Holy Grail. You know, and I don't think Austin could have won the Holy Grail if it wasn't for JTR. Not to say I agree with how things were done. JTR, I think you stuck your nose in somebody else's business that didn't concern you. But yeah, I mean, at this point, I think that, for one, Austin's better without supremacy, but I'm not sure if he's, you know, bad enough to be in Money and Power. Does that make any sense? I think he's able to find success on his own. But JTR, let me ask you, man, like, how's it been since he's joined? I mean, have you guys been able to collaborate? Have you guys on the same page? Uh, with both your guys' heads swelling all the time, can they even fit in the same front door? How's it going over there, Money and Power?
Freaking idiot. Let me tell you, Gavin, it's going absolutely great. And you alluded to a previous partnership with CEO. And you're talking about fat heads, big heads, inflated egos. Well, there was no bigger ego than CEO. Okay? That's why that didn't work. CEO didn't have the same vision that I had for Money and Power. And that's why that didn't work. He also didn't understand that he needed to yield to me. The smarter, better looking, richer, all around better person. And he refused to do that because of his own ego. So what that got him was the door. Now, Austin is a very, very intelligent young man. Okay? It's no secret. I'm a little older than he is. So we have a different type of relationship. Okay? Austin is able to listen and learn and take what I teach him and put that into practice in the ring. And not only in the ring, I've given Austin some good deals here as far as stock tips go, and he's already profited quite well from a few of my inside deals that I've hooked him up with. So yeah, we have been collaborating a lot.
Well, if I can interject here real quick, just out of curiosity, you mentioned that you taught Austin things already, and Austin can learn a lot from you. Hopefully, these things that Austin's going to learn from you is different than what Jason Curtis learned from you, what Lynette Dallas learned from you, what AK's former tag team partner learned from you. I mean, how have they worked out in the past, and now you're bringing somebody else in?
Listen, in any business, you have turnover, okay? And any smart businessman understands that you always have to upgrade your product, John. I don't know about your job, but people get fired at their job if they're no good, right? Exactly. So essentially, it's the same thing with this company in Money and Power. If you can't cut it, then you hit the freaking bricks because we don't need you. And as far as Jason Curtis goes, I made that clear a long time ago. The only reason Jason Curtis was around is because CEO needed someone. And I said, who do you want? Who's available? JC, man, JC. So I got him what he wanted. And he was still a freaking loser. So that's why they're both gone.
You make a lot of valid points there. Again, like, Money and Power, that's your business, however you want to run your business, but WDWA is my business and I run it how I want to run it. You talk about, sometimes out with the old, in with the new. We've been moving just fine as Money and Power has been taking their absence between, since Berkeley Mania. Like, I'm happy to keep you guys coming. I'm happy you guys doing it all, but make no mistake, JTR, you don't want to step on my toes because I push a lot harder back than even DeMarcus does. With that being said, like I've said, I've always given you a platform to shine on. And this upcoming Saturday, you guys have another opportunity to have, 4 out of 5 members of Money and Power in the main event against Black Wall Street CEO and Mr. Y Keys themselves. I mean, right now, you guys are going to stand across the ring from 4 guys that you guys have had crucial heat with that, all have something revenge or some sort of cutthroat here with money and power. How do you guys think you guys are going to hold up against these 4 guys?
Gavin, the key word here is revenge, retribution. This Saturday night, you got CE Ogre, who was one of the 4 idiots that it took to pin me in the center of the ring at Berkeley Mania, who's going to get what's coming to him for what he did. You have Chuck Lennox, whose freaking hand mark was on my chest after he tore my shirt off at Berkeley Mania.
I love it.
And chopped me. Freaking idiot. He's going to get what's coming to him. Why, Keys, we pretty much already handled him, so I don't even know why he's in the match. But I guess we'll do it again. And then you got Chuck Lennox's tag team partner, Drolix. I've never even met the freaking guy, but I can tell you, I don't like him. He's a freaking idiot. If he's tagging with Chuck Lennox for this long, he's an idiot.
Yeah, I definitely. I wouldn't speak too loudly where he can hear you. Drolix is one of those guys that he doesn't take any BS. So, if any one of your guys end up standing toe to toe against Drolix, you better watch out because they'll definitely shut their mouth for him. John, what do you think of this big 4-on-4 main event for this weekend?
Oh, I'm absolutely looking forward to it. And I don't think that it's going to be just a straight out wrestling match. I think it's going to be a fight, because I know Money and Power, they're going to be hungry. They want to prove that Berkeley Mania was just a fluke. They want to prove that they are somebody to be reckoned with, so they've got a lot to prove out of this match. And of course, we know the history with all the guys on the other side, and they're going to want to show that Money and Power is nothing. So I look for this to be one heck of a fight, and it's going to be something to watch. It really is.
Yeah, like we said earlier in the night, all the guys in Money and Power, very well talented. I think JTR has put together a team that's going to be reckoned with. We don't always agree with JTR and the choices he makes and what they do, but as for in-ring talent, he's put together a decent squad here at WDWA that definitely have what it takes to be successful. Standing across former heavyweight champion, CEO, former tag team champions, and Y Keys, former tag team champion, and Chuck Lennox, and one of the best independent wrestlers on the East Coast, Mr. Drolix. This is like an all-star team. So JTR, this is your chance to prove what Money and Power has. I mean, if you guys can beat this all-star team, you guys definitely are definitely making statements. So good luck to you guys this Saturday. May the best team win. On John, do you have anything else for JTR?
Just like you said, best of luck to all of Money and Power in this matchup, and you might want to ask security to check under the ring and check around just to make sure there's no kendo sticks or anything before the match, because I
freaking moron.
like those things.
You just can't help yourself. What a freaking idiot. I know your zip code's Martinsburg. Only a freaking West Virginia inbred hillbilly would say something stupid like that.
Well, right now I'm not in Martinsburg. I don't live in Martinsburg, but hey.
I don't believe that. I don't believe it.
So,
well,
best of luck to you.
Yeah, I mean, we can always go back and forth, man. We can always take some verbal blows at each other. In the end, we're businessmen.
You're right, Gavin.
That we're trying.
You're right about that.
When we're trying to put on the best wrestling show we can, and you and I don't always agree, but we always come to terms with business, being able to have your team and stuff compete here at WDWA. So with that being said, You know, thank you for making the time to join us here again on episode 14 of Elevation. Any departing words for the fans or anybody here at Elevation before we let you go for the night?
You know what, Gavin? I'm going to let my statement be made this Saturday night in the ring, because you're right. The team you have assembled to take on Money and Power, it's an all-star team. So you know what? My boys are going to be ready, and we're going to come in there, like I told you, for revenge, retribution, and I didn't come back for no reason. I came back for one thing, and that is gold. And it starts this Saturday night, Gavin.
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear, and I wish you the best of luck, like right now with who's holding the gold here at WDWA. All I can say is good luck.
Well, just put them on notice. This is notice to every single one of them with a belt around their waist. Money and Power in 2026 is coming to collect them all.
So just because I'm curious and our chat has mentioned it, what does Money and Power and JTR think about Mr. Grimm?
Listen, Mr. Grimm, he's a formidable opponent. But I have several men in a lineup of killers, trained killers, that I can put across from that hit man. Okay? There's a man at the top of the list named A.K. Bain who would love to step across the ring and take all three of those belts.
Yeah, well, I would love to see that matchup. As like I said from the comments made in the group, that's something I find interesting. I'm always trying to give the fans what they want.
It would work for everyone because I'd end up with 3 belts, and the fans would get what they would want.
Well, I'll definitely keep that in mind. Be careful what you wish for. But again, JTR, thanks for your time tonight. Hoss, again, you got anything else for JTR before we let him go?
No, I think we're good.
Don't do it. Don't you freaking say it.
All right, JTR, thanks for your time tonight.
You're welcome.
Good luck this Saturday, and we'll see you here soon. Have
Yep.
a good night,
I'll see you guys Saturday night.
All right. I could have kept going. I could have kept fighting the fight, but with JTR, sometimes I'd probably just run into a wall with where we get. But I could say what I want. A lot of it's based off feelings than facts. I don't like people to come into WDWA thinking that they run the show. But if I want to speak the facts and take my ego out of it, JTR has been he has been able to find success here in WDWA, and he's also been able to find failures. I think he's got a pretty good game plan together to make the choice to bring the holder of the Holy Grail into Money and Power. I think that was a slick move, but to be a guy to poke the chest on guys like Black Wall Street CEO Y Keys, and now even the hitman for hire, Mr. Grimm. The facts are, don't get yourself fucked up in a nutshell. So he can be whatever kind of businessman he is, but on the real, got to be careful who you're picking fights with, man. But I would love to see it. I'm glad that the fans are coming to me and telling me what they would like to see. Keep that coming, guys. I love to put on matches that you guys want to see. I'm looking forward to seeing how everything goes here with collaboration with Austin Kingsley and JTR. I'm looking forward to this match this weekend. But John, we have a lot of stuff here to talk about. We're about to get into our fans weigh in, but before we do, you want to tell everybody what's going on and how to be a part of the FWWC.
Yeah, man, FWWC, we have a really good time over there. It is Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter. We cut promos, we do a lot of trash talking, a lot of back and forth, and we just have a really good time. And we make picks based on mostly WWE. And if you get the match right, you get a point. If you miss it, you obviously don't. And the person with the most points wins. You can win actual titles like the one Sam Adams stole from me. But that's beside the point. So I think we've got a little thing here for them. If you want to check out FWWC, go to Facebook, Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter. And that's where you will find the FWWC.
Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter, where the world's smartest wrestling fans come together to compete for real championships. Original characters, trash talking, picks during live events, pay-per-views, and even get-togethers like bowling, ice skating, and pool tournaments as well. We have members from across the globe who will stop at nothing to climb to the top of the fantasy wrestling power rankings. Simply the best fantasy wrestling group in the world. Why? Because of you, the creative and active members of the Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter.
If you're interested in it, hit me up. I'll give you more information. And, actually, Gavin, we've got several of your trainees in the FWWC now. And so, they're working on their promo skills over there and just having a good time. So not only, FWWC, but, be sure to check out the WDWA Academy Pro Wrestling School. You want to sign up for that. The number's there, and Gavin will be happy to talk to you about that and get you all signed up. I know you just recently had a free tryout to see what it was like, and with the head trainer Ryo there, he's a heck of a wrestler, and I've seen some of the training he's given these guys, so they're doing pretty good.
Yeah, happy to have Ryo on the team, leading the way as head trainer at the WDWA Academy. We're doing great things over there. These guys are being taught, the right way. They're being taught respect. They're being taught how to respect the business, how to carry yourself. A lot more than just how to do moves and things like that. I mean, this is a business. You got to treat it like a business. It will love you. If you love it, it will love you back. But at the same time, you got to have some thick skin as well. But we take pride into to giving them all the tools they need to be successful. With a guy like Ryo, who's internationally traveled, worked in many promotions, who have worked for WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, who's attended WDWA tryouts where he's been taught what WWE looks for on how to do things properly, on what they are looking for at a WWE level, which is something that a lot of people don't get. A lot of people just know from what they're taught locally and stuff like that. So it's nice to have somebody that's went across those borders. And honestly, I've even learned a lot from Ryo, as well as the other guys that we've been having coming in and out of the school training. You mentioned, we just had an open house. We had a great turnout, a lot of hungry people that are looking to, make a life out of pro wrestling and give it their all. We're hoping to get them signed up here soon at the wrestling school. But yeah, if anybody out there is interested in becoming a wrestler, feel free to reach out to myself, reach out to WDWA's social media, reach out to Ryo or his social media, and we'll do our best to point you guys in the right direction. even if it's not with WDWA Academy, I know this is bad for business, but like I love professional wrestling more than I like, to benefit from it. Like if anybody just needs help to find a local school in their area, or just have any questions in general, I'm happy to help people research, to find, other places to travel, or to check out. I'm not the only school in the area. There's other schools. I'm not, throwing anybody under the bus, or I'm not praising anybody, but like I know who runs the schools that are going to teach you well. There's some up and coming schools that are just kicking off, that have a great leader with a great mind. But feel free to reach out to me if you guys have any questions, and I'll point you in the right direction, whether that's at WDWA or not. I want everybody to love the business like I love the business. It's a great place to be. So definitely feel free to reach out. But yeah, thanks for that quick plug. Always appreciate it, John. But I have to say, before we go into our fans weigh in, two things. One, who won last time?
Well, last time you and I actually had the same exact picks.
Oh, wow.
So last time Trevor only got 2 right. But remember, there were 8 matches. We only picked 7 because we didn't know about the other one.
Gotcha.
But so Trevor got 2 right, and you and I both got 4 right. So the moral of the story: don't go with Gavin. But
all right. And then number 2, what I wanted to say, is just so everybody's aware that we're bringing in a fan to weigh in that refused to come on if JTR was on, who's she's been the mainstay here at WDWA for quite some time. Everybody knows about her. All the wrestlers know about her. She's willing to go toe to toe and throw blows with anybody on the card. She's probably one of the toughest women we know, John. Ready to fight at the drop of a dime. But at the same time, we love it here at WDWA. John, tonight's guest for the fans weigh in is none other than Miss Sheila Reed. How's it going, Sheila?
Okay.
Did you like that introduction?
Yeah.
What do you think about JTR on here tonight?
I wasn't on there.
I know you guys are. I know you love having JTR around.
No. I don't.
All right, Sheila, are you ready to let the WDWA and Elevation audience know who your picks are for this weekend?
Yeah.
All right. Just like John said, I'm not very good at this. John's hit or miss, but Sheila, we're hoping that you could take the gold here. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, John, take it away.
All right. So obviously, we're going to be talking about this weekend's up and coming show, Count Your Blessings. This coming Saturday night, South Berkeley Fire Hall. Make sure that you're there. It's going to be a heck of a show. So let's get into it here. We've got the first match we're going to talk about is Sigma Steve against Aristote. We have seen Aristote before. He is one heck of a talent. And, so I definitely look forward to seeing him again. And going up against Sigma Steve, who is also one heck of a powerhouse in the talent, who has been doing absolutely great since coming back and reuniting in Sigma Males. So, definitely absolutely looking forward to this one. What are your thoughts on this one, Sheila? What are you thinking?
Steve.
All right.
Going with Sigma Steve?
Yeah.
So Sheila's thinking Steve's going to take this one. Gavin, what are your thoughts?
Well, like both these competitors are great. Sigma Steve's been running on a high recently with LDJ. They've been killing it as the Sigma males. but it's hard to go from tag team competition to singles competition to tag team competition back to singles competition. Like there's different ways, when that you have to strategize a match. And Aristote has been doing tremendous things even since the last time we've seen him at WDWA. I mean, I keep an eye on him. I see what he's going on. I think he's on a whole nother level than the last time the WDWA fans saw him. I definitely think he's bringing a lot to the table here. I'm looking forward to this match to see both these guys together. But I'm going to have to go with Sigma Steve on this just because, he's got the audience behind him. And, like I said, he's on a roll right now. So I'm going to go with Sigma Steve. John, what about you?
All right. So that is 2 for Sigma Steve. And, I think I'm just going to have to go right along with it as well with Sigma Steve. I think he can pull out the victory here. Like I say, it's going to be a tough fight. I don't think it's going to be an easy win no matter who wins it. But I think Sigma Steve can pull out the win over Aristote. So I look for that to be a great match. So then the next match we're going to talk about is we're going to see the Gatekeeper Cisco versus Chulo Montana. This should be another one. And, so Gavin, you start us off on that one.
Yeah, wow. This one's this one is going to be very difficult to call. I mean, wow. I just put over, how I think Chulo is amazing in the ring. How he was ready for that light heavyweight championship that him and Ace would have put a banger on. Former tag team champion. So much praise for him, but like it's hard to bet against Cisco. Cisco's accolades here in WDWA. He's been around for a long time here at WDWA. He has held almost every title in the company with the exception of the heavyweight championship. And he's held titles on multiple occasions. He's always been a fighter. He's always been able to stand up against whatever you put in front of him and knock it down. With all that being said, I'm going to have to go with the Gatekeeper himself, Mr. Cisco.
All right. Sheila, what are your thoughts?
It's Cisco.
All right. And I can remember a time that you wouldn't have picked Cisco, though, because there was a time you didn't like Cisco.
No, I've always liked Cisco.
So what are your thoughts? You don't think Chulo's got it?
Nah, I don't like that man at all.
What don't you like about him?
I just don't like him.
All right. Well, let's see here. It's going to be a tough fight either way. And, Chulo, I can see him coming out and he's going to want to win this. He wants to get to that Mid-Atlantic Championship or the light heavyweight championship, either one. He just wants a title. I don't think he cares. And, so I can see him really coming out and fighting hard. Cisco, I'm sure, he wants to get back to a title after, because, we haven't seen Cisco. I don't think we've seen him since he lost the title, have we?
Yeah, it's been a little while.
Yeah, it has. So
we saw him at Berkeley Mania lose the title. And then we haven't seen him since.
So this is going to be the first time since Berkeley Mania we see Cisco, and like I say, he's going to want to work his way back to getting back to getting a title shot. So, I think it's going to be a tough fought match, but I'm going to give it to Cisco.
I think we're 3 for 3, 2 in a row.
Yeah, that means we're all going to be wrong.
That's that's my fault.
So the next match we're going to talk about, and we talked about two of them.
Sorry, let me before you move ahead. Diablo's on it, man. Sorry, I've been hitting the head a lot. I forget some things, but we did recently see Cisco and Victor Jones versus Mr. Grimm recently.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep. So, okay. But we've talked about these two a little bit earlier from last time. We're going to see a tables match between Ivan Ali and Wrath. Now, of course, you're going to have Dex in the corner of Wrath.
Wraith.
Wraith. I don't know why I keep calling him Wrath. But you'll have Dex in Wraith's corner. And, so this one, once again, it's going to be a tough one to call because you're really going to have almost a 2-on-1 because Dex is going to get involved. But I know Ivan Ali can handle both of them. And, after what they did last match, I look for Ivan to come out on top on this one. I really don't. So yeah. I'm going Ivan.
Yeah, they definitely lit a fuse under Ivan Ali. I would not want to get in the ring with that guy after pissing him off. Phoenix is not supposed to be there. From what Dex has told me, it's supposed to just be Wraith. So if that's the case, I don't have a doubt that Ivan Ali is going to be able to take Wraith and put him straight to a table. I know that. When Phoenix and Wraith and even Dex was together while Axel was handcuffed, they were able to put Ali through a door. But I don't think they can take down Ivan Ali even 2 versus 1. So my money's on Ali.
Well, and that's another factor to think about. He's not on the card, but will Axel be lurking around somewhere? You never know. He could be, and he would want revenge for the handcuffing. So, that's something else to think about.
What do you think would happen to WDWA if Dex was able to get a guy like Ivan Ali to sell his soul to him? Like,
not gonna happen.
Could you imagine that force? Oh, can't imagine. Let's just hope that doesn't happen. Sheila, who do you think is going to win this match?
Ivan.
She didn't even hesitate.
I don't like Dex.
What about Wraith?
I don't like him either. He got rabies.
Oh, he's got rabies. Uh-oh. Yeah. Well, be careful not to get bit, Ivan.
You mentioned earlier that you do testing for performance enhancing stuff. You might want to start doing some rabies testing.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to a local vet.
But yeah, so then we're going to look at this tag team championship match. We've seen all this trouble that's been caused by the Uncrowned Kings and Lady Glory, and now they get a championship shot against Clay Jacobs and Zakar Shaw. This match is going to be a heck of a match. So, Gavin?
Yeah, so, first of all, this match is being sponsored by the Right Boys Hauling. The Right Boys Hauling has always been so good to us here at WDWA. They've sponsored a lot of different matches, and they've sponsored, they used to sponsor shows back in the day, but they've always been, very good to WDWA when it comes to showing us some love. But with that being said, normally, like I think for people to get championship matches, I feel like they need to earn it. But in this case, the champions are asking to face these guys because, maybe these guys were smart to take the chances that they took because if their end goal is to get a tag title shot, and that's what it took to do it. I mean, that's smart planning. But they're going to be in the ring now, across from these guys. They're not going to be coming from behind. They're not going to be taking cheap shots 2-on-1. This is going to be 2-on-2, toe-to-toe. And like we mentioned before, these guys are like the mega powers. They're two of the best WDWA's had to offer. Both of them multi-time heavyweight champions. Like if you're gonna pick a fight, like these two guys, like you should not pick a fight with. But I mentioned it before. I think Snook's great in the ring. We've seen Jay in the ring plenty of times. Definitely, a great master of the art. Like, he's very good. I don't know much about Lady Glory, with the exception of the fact that she is very ballsy, man. Like, she doesn't care who it is. She'll go straight after Clay. She'll go straight after Zakar. Doesn't matter how tiny she is. She's very tough, and she doesn't back down. So, this one's going to be hard to call, because it's like, do I think that Snook and Jay could beat them in a tag team match? No. Do I think that they could have tricks up their sleeve with Lady Glory to outsmart them to become champions? Yes. But if I'm betting on, like, it doesn't matter who's going to take the outcome, you know what? Gosh, it's hard, but I just would say at this point, they've had the upper hand twice now over the tag team champions. So I'm going to go with an unpopular decision on this one. I'm going to say that the Uncrowned Kings leave WDWA's, Count Your Blessings, the new tag team champions.
Sheila, your thoughts?
Nah, it's gonna be Clay. It's a car.
All right. So she's thinking Clay and Zakar. Personally, I think the Uncrowned Kings, they have made an enemy that I don't think they thought about it when they made. I believe they thought, I'm going after the biggest dog in the yard to make my name. But I don't think they thought through what that really meant. And so I think they're going to find out when they step in that ring against Clay and Zakar. It's definitely not going to be a walk in the park. Like you say, they have gotten the best of them twice now, but I think Clay and Zakar are pissed, and I think they're going to make them pay. So I'm going to go with the champs on this one. And Lady Glory, she may get involved. I don't doubt that she will, because she's not scared to jump up there and do something. But if she does, that also could cause a disqualification. So I'm looking at the champs to walk out still champions and with a victory in the books, whether it be a straight victory or whether it be by disqualification. And I think it's going to be your champions.
All right, I'm out here on an island now. We broke up the team effort.
Well, we had to differ somewhere. We don't want to be wrong on all of them. So the next one we're going to talk about is the women's tag team match. We're going to see our women's champion tagging with Keely Capri, and they're going to be going against Jade and Sith Sasaki. So Jade Onyx and Sith Sasaki, we know that both of them are tough competitors, as are Tiffany and Keely. So this should be a pretty good matchup. So, Sheila, who do you think's going to walk out on this one?
I don't know. Because I know Tiffany will fight for her belt.
Well, but it's not for the championship. You got to remember that now. It's a tag match. It's not for the championship.
Oh, then, yeah, definitely Sasaki and the other girls.
All right. So you think Jade and Sith will walk out with it?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm tired of one of those.
All right, Gavin?
Like I always love having Sis Sasaki show up. I think every time she's here, WDWA, she always brings the best of what she can do. I mean, she's found a lot of success here, but the last time we saw her was at Berkeley Mania against Tiffany Grady, and it's hard to bet against Tiffany Grady when she constantly is finding success and finding a way to win. This is the debut of Jade Onyx. We've been talking a while about trying to get her in. We finally found a date open, and Sasaki reached out to Jade and said, "Hey, Jade, you want to, join my team to beat up on these girls?" And Jade said, "Great." So we're happy to have Jade here. I've been watching a lot of Jade Onyx stuff. I definitely think she's one that WDWA fans are gonna watch and they're gonna enjoy. I think she brings a lot to the table. But the wild card in this, to me, is Keely Capri. Keely Capri has shown nothing but being phenomenal in a wrestling ring, whether that be WDWA or other wrestling rings. She's finding success everywhere she goes. I mean, she's another one that came out of Ace Montana's camp out of Richmond, Virginia Academy. But I look at Tiffany and Keely sort of like I look at a Clay and Zakar. I mean, you have, two of the best like side by side, and it can go one of two ways. Like it could work for you to the max, or it can work against you. Because again, you're building up egos, you're building up it's a land, where it's a doggy dog world, right? Everybody's trying to step on each other's toes to be the best. So whether you're in a team or not, all four of these girls are out there to make a statement for themselves to be the best wrestler, so it's very hard to bet against Tiffany and Keely when you lay it all out on paper about what they have to offer and how good they are. But because I think that it's going to be hard for those two to work together, I'm going with the team of Jade Onyx and Sis Sasaki.
All right. And, one thing that we haven't mentioned here in this matchup that you got to keep in the back of your mind, and it's not seen on the poster either, but, when you have Tiffany Grady in the ring, Jason Curtis normally is not very far away.
Yeah, from what I hear, Jason Curtis is supposed to be there this weekend. He is supposed to be in Tiffany's corner. You're right. That does cause a little bit of a variable, a little bit of a key factor on, possible outcomes. But I stand strong with Jade Onyx and Sis Sasaki.
Yeah. So, even though Jason will be there, I can see where if things don't go Tiffany's way, I've seen Tiffany before, like in Rumbles and stuff where she's just been, see ya, and not wanted to, just rolled out the ring and been like, yeah, I'm done. So, I can see where this could possibly turn into a handicap match, with her doing something like that. And Jade and Sis coming out with the victory. So, I'm obviously going to go with the two of them. So we are all back in agreement once again on this one. So then we have the teacher versus the student, Ace Montana versus Rockstar Keely. This should be a pretty good match. Kelly. I don't know why I say Keely. Kelly. But yeah, this should be a pretty good match. I mean, we've seen Rockstar Kelly before. We've seen him several times. We know that, he is one heck of a competitor and we know what he can do. But then you've got Ace Montana, who has been around for years. He has taught Rockstar. I'm sure he knows every move that Rockstar can pull off because he knows him so well because he trained him. And so I think that's that's going to be something against Rockstar there. So it it's going to be a good match either way. Um, between the two of them, can the student surpass the teacher? Who knows? But something to keep in mind is there's been this feud all this time here lately between Ace and uh,
Jamie Hall.
yes, why my mind went blank, I don't know. But yeah, Ace and Jamie Hall have had this feud going now, and so that's something to keep in mind. Jamie's not on the card, mind you, but there again, how many times have we seen somebody lurking around that's not on the card?
Yeah, Jamie Hall is not scheduled to show up. Shouldn't be there. With that being said, like I don't want to sound like I'm anti Rockstar Kelly, because the kid's been impressing me. I like what he brings to the table. I think he's got a bright future as long as he keeps working hard and keeps trying to own his craft and learn. He's got a great ring presence. He's good in the ring. He's got a lot to offer. So kudos to him for all the hard work he's put in. But the one thing I know about Ace Montana is Ace Montana's he's teaching Rockstar Kelly everything that Rockstar Kelly knows, but he's not teaching Rockstar Kelly everything that Ace Montana knows. With that being said, I don't think that the students has a chance of beating the teacher. These two have actually wrestled at WDWA, and I think it's going to be the same outcome that it was last time. I think Ace Montana for the win.
All right, and I think I'm going to go Ace, and so Sheila?
I'm going with Ace too.
3 for 3. Alex Dale said Rockstar Kelly for the win, with or without Jamie Hall.
All right.
Then Rockstar Kelly.
So, so far there's only one that we've disagreed on. So, that's
the tag team championship.
Yep, that's the only one we've disagreed on so far. So then the final match that we have to talk about here is the 8-man tag.
What was that shit?
Ew, ugly JTR.
Ugly JTR off there on the right hand side. Yep.
I know Sheila can't wait for this match. I know she's excited to see this match. And we all know that she is going to be pulling for money and power on this one without a doubt.
I don't think so. If I can beat up JTR, then I'll pull for everything.
Sheila told me she wants to enter the Rumble this year for her chance to face off against JTR.
No, I can't do that yet. Soon enough.
But what do you think, John? What do you think? What are your thoughts on this match? I know we talked to JTR about it earlier. We mentioned some things about the match. It sounds like Sheila's going with the team of Y-Keys, CEO, and Black Wall Street. But John, what about you?
Honestly, this match, like I said before, I look for it to be a fight, no matter what. I don't really look for it to be a straight out wrestling match. And I believe that Money and Power, they're going to want to show that, they are power, that they're not just a fluke, that they really do have what it takes. Because, we saw, they had a heavyweight champion. He's going to be in this match, but then he lost that title, and he's going to want to show that he's still the monster, and Money and Power is going to want to show that they are still united and that they are a force to reckon with. So I gotta go with Money and Power on this one.
Yeah, it's at the point where it's either put up or shut up with Money and Power, right? I mean, they've been on a losing streak here for a while. Berkeley Mania was kind of a nail in the coffin for for a lot of what Money and Power had going on, and especially with AK losing the heavyweight championship. I mean, that was a major hit. But now that coffin's back open, they have a different chance of life here going ending off 2025 heading into to 2026. And like if they want anybody to take them serious after all the losses they've taken, I mean, this is their time to make a statement. We talked about it earlier. I mean, they're going up against a dream team. I mean, they're going up against Black Wall Street, who, man, I've put them on a pedestal for as long as I've been in this field. Like, these guys have wrestled every major tag team, that there's been in, they've just been amazing. Then you have Y-Keys. We just talked about Y-Keys and all his accolades, about what he's bringing to the table. And then you add CEO to the mix, multiple tag team champion. He's held the heavyweight championship a couple times. He's got a nice resume for himself. I mean, so it's put up or shut up for Money and Power, but it's going to be very hard for them to find success on a team like this. I mean, it's a stacked team. So with that being said, I think it's going to be another chance that Money and Power puts their foot in their mouth, and I'm going to go with Black Wall Street CEO and Mr. Y-Keys for the main event for this weekend.
You are going to put me on the island for this one. So
that's right. Me and Sheila hanging strong over here with the dream team. And John, we wish you well, buddy. Enjoy that island.
So, well, we definitely look forward to this weekend. It's going to be one heck of a show that you don't want to miss. As we said, count your blessings. South Berkeley Fire Hall, Inwood, West Virginia. It's definitely something that you're not going to want to miss at all. So definitely want to be there. So Sheila, thank you for joining us. Any last words before we let you go?
No, nothing. No last departing words.
I'll see y'all Saturday. No, I'll see y'all Saturday.
All right, Sheila. Well, thank you for joining us. We appreciate all your input with your weigh-in. We love you here at WDWA. Thank you for always showing us nothing but support and also being on Elevation tonight. Sheila, thank you so much, and we'll definitely see you Saturday night.
Okay.
All right.
All right, John. Episode 14 in the books. Great guest tonight. As much as we talk about him, he always brings excitement, always brings energy. The fans are always looking to see what he has to say next. So always good for business, So John, enjoyed my time with you again, buddy. Always a pleasure. Can't wait to do this again on episode 15. Got Count Your Blessings coming up this Saturday in Inwood, West Virginia at the South Berkeley Fire Hall. Doors open up at 5:30, bell time 6:15. If you're able to make it, we'd love to have you there. John, I know you'll be there. You guys have Wrestle Talk podcast next Tuesday. You want to give people some last minute just updates about time and all that stuff?
Yeah, just Wrestle Talk podcast, 8:05 Eastern time, 7:05 Central time. We do it every other Tuesday, and like I say, 8:05 Eastern time, just like the old days of Monday Nitro. They started 8:05, so kind of a throwback to them. And myself and Gabe, we will be there as the hosts. We'll be steering the ship, and we'll have a great guest lined up for you, and just absolutely look forward to it. There'll be plenty to talk about, so don't miss it, and be sure to be there for Count Your Blessings this Saturday. Gavin, it's been a lot of fun, and definitely look forward to episode 15, where I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about again, and probably more questions than answers once again, because that just seems to be the common theme for for the WDWA show.
Yeah, that's what we like. We like to leave everybody on their seats, but I'm always happy with the way shows are. I have no complaints. I think everybody's doing a killer job, but the real blessing to all of us have been the fans. They've shown us nothing but love. We couldn't do what we do without them. We thank each and every one of you, whether you guys are showing us love on the Elevation podcast or watching Frontline or checking us out on social media or attending our shows live. You guys have done nothing but show us love, and we love you in return. So thank you to each and every one of you. John, we have managed to keep this under 2 hours. This will make our wives happy that we'll be able to go to bed on time. But yeah, John, always a pleasure, buddy. It's great, doing another show with you. Looking forward to number 15. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for joining Elevation tonight. I am the owner of WDWA, Mr. Gavin Jackson. That is Hardcore Haas. He is the current FWWC Hardcore Champion and also one of the voices you hear at Wrestle Talk Podcast. We will see you guys in 2 weeks for another episode of Elevation. Have a good night.